just wait until we finish dealing with certain circumstances, and then that's out the way. We gotta keep everything behind and just look forward to the future. That, as you said, and listen to JoJo's story. You know, everybody go through something, but that's what's going to make them who they're going to be in the future and whatnot. He could go any coach in the world that he wanted to go to.
So first of all, Tank, this is the Tank era. When did this era start?
Probably like a little over a year ago. Or a little.
For years, Calvin Ford was one of the most important voices in Tank's corner. He helped guide him, develop him, and keep him connected to the style that made him dangerous. So when Tank started working with different trainers, fans immediately wanted to know what really happened behind the scenes. That is why Calvin's comments hit different. This is not just about a fighter switching gyms. It is about trust, growth, control, and whether Tank felt like he needed a new voice around him before the next stage of his career. And now the question becomes bigger. Did Tank leave because he wanted to evolve, or because something inside the team was no longer working? Either way, when Calvin Ford speaks on it, boxing fans listen. Then, Jose Benavidez Sr. posted something that revealed a major change in Gervonta Davis's camp. According to the post, Tank is now training with Jose Benavidez Sr., which means he has moved away from his longtime coach, Calvin Ford.
It's changing right in front of our face, you know, and everybody's feeling it, you know, so I want to see what's the next wave.
And that is why this story immediately caught attention. Calvin was not just another trainer for Tank. He was one of the main voices behind his rise, his style, and his development into one of boxing's biggest stars. So, when fans saw Jose Benavidez showing that Tank was working with him, it made people ask what really happened behind the scenes. Did Tank leave Calvin because he wanted a fresh voice? Did he feel like he needed a new environment? Or is this part of a bigger reset before his next fight? That is what makes this change so important. Tank is not just switching workouts. He is changing the people around him at a critical time in his career. And when a fighter leaves an old coach before a major return, fans always wonder if it's about growth, tension, or something deeper. GDD Promotions gave more context on why Gervonta Davis split from Coach Calvin Ford, and the message made the move sound less personal and more strategic. They tweeted, "I know a lot of people are asking me why did Gervonta Davis split away from Coach Calvin Ford. I can't reveal too much, but just know Tank made this decision to put his mind on legacy and try to make himself a better fighter and get the best big fights out there. This ain't personal, it's business." That tweet changes the way people look at the split. For fans, leaving Calvin Ford feels emotional because Calvin was there for so much of Tank's rise. He helped shape him, guide him, and build the fighter people know today. But according to Editorial, Tank is not walking away out of disrespect. He is making a business decision because he wants to focus on legacy improvement and the biggest fights available. Then the Boxing Massacre gave a much harsher take on Gervonta Davis linking up with Jose Benavidez Sr., and he did not see the move as a bad thing at all. They tweeted, "I don't get how fanboys are saying Gervonta Davis linking up with David Benavidez's dad will be his downfall. Skill-wise, Tank is one of the best fighters in boxing. Mentality, I've always questioned him. Jose Sr. will improve that. Something the weak energy Calvin Ford could never do. Calvin is always crying, getting too emotional, and that energy is reflected on Tank, who's made many bad emotional decisions. Many won't like my take, but it's the harsh truth. The bottom line is Calvin has taken Tank as far as he can. According to Sean Porter, Gervonta Davis is with Jose Benavidez Sr. because he is comfortable with him. That line makes the move sound less dramatic than people are making it. Sean's point is that sometimes a fighter does not switch trainers because of beef or disrespect. Sometimes he just needs a different environment, a different voice, and someone around him who makes him feel locked in. For Tank, comfort matters because he is entering a serious stage of his career. If Jose Sr. gives him the energy, structure, and confidence he needs right now, then that is why he made the move. It does not mean Calvin Ford did nothing for him. It just means Tank may feel Jose is the right fit for where he is trying to go next.
10, 9, 8, 7, power, 6, 5, power, 4, power, 3, 2, 1 more.
Brenna and Sean Zittel looked at the situation differently. They still thought Calvin Ford was good for Gervonta Davis. From their side, Calvin was not just some random trainer Tank left behind. He was part of the foundation. He helped guide Tank through important years, understood his style, and knew how to communicate with him in ways not every coach could. So even if Tank feels comfortable with Jose Benavidez Sr. right now, that does not mean Calvin was a problem. That is what made their take more balanced. They understood why Tank might want a new environment or fresh voice, but they also gave Calvin credit for the work he already did. To them, Calvin helped build the fighter people respect today. And that cannot just be erased because Tank is making a change.
I feel like he's comfortable with Jose. And just telling y'all what I know, sometimes that's all it takes. Whatever's going to get this light flipped up, turned on, and keep it on, sometimes it's comfort. I just need somebody that I feel comfortable with, that I can be myself with, and that, you know, when I'm ready to move, they moving. When they ready to move, I'm moving. And I feel like he thinks he...
MHM. Seconds in, Fennon gave his take on the real reason Gervonta Davis left Coach Calvin Ford, and his angle was different from everyone else.
And Tank.
It's their business, but I just don't. I don't add up the beef with him and Calvin Ford. Really, I guess Calvin may have done an interview or two that Gervonta didn't like, but it's like that
made no sense, man.
Look, I remember when I saw Truck Simpson spar before Truck tailed off when he had promise. No offense, Truck. You know, much love to you, but when Truck was 18, 19 years old, and it was like, oh, this kid, he has talent. He has real upside. He threw his punches in the same way Gervonta Davis did. He had a lot of the same kind of rhythm that Gervonta did, and that's what made me go, Calvin is a good trainer. Even though Calvin didn't move the needle for Jahan Ingram over the weekend. Jahan Ingram lost to Devin Cushing. It didn't look like Calvin had a big impact on him winning. He wound up losing to Devin Cushing. Devin Cushing, bigger guy, anyways. But when I saw Truck do that, I go, okay, so Calvin has an imprint. He has a system.
Then Fennon gave his take on the real reason Gervonta Davis left Coach Calvin Ford, and his angle was different from everyone else. Training, comfort, or legacy. He suggested there were too many people talking, too many leaks, and too many snitches around the situation. That changes the way fans look at Tank's decision. Because if a fighter feels like too much information is leaving the camp, then switching environments becomes more than a boxing choice. It becomes a trust issue.
One of the reasons that he's no longer with Coach Kenny and Coach Calvin. And I think it's an important thing to say because it's not all on Coach Calvin, and it's not all on Coach Kenny, and it's not all on Gervonta Davis. I have been paying attention to that camp for a while. I know people in that camp. I know people around that camp. And I can tell you without a doubt that the major issue with Gervonta Davis and that particular camp was the fact that there's so many paid snitches in his camp. It was replete with family members and other people who, whenever they got a piece of information about Gervonta Davis, would try to go out and give that information to somebody else in exchange for money.
Privacy matters. He is dealing with big fight talks, contract rumors, trainer changes, and pressure from every side. So, if he felt like the old setup had too many people speaking on his business, then leaving Calvin Ford's circle may have been his way of tightening control.
Gervonta is looking up at the internet, seeing what's being said about him, hearing this information coming out about himself and saying, man, where is this coming from? Originally, and this was a couple years ago, I remember when Gervonta started getting upset with it and he started blocking people and getting mad about stuff. And he started telling Kenny and Calvin, you know, that basically not to be announcing things, not to say things about who he's going to fight next or what he's going to do next, because Gervonta started getting irritated about that. I also know that Calvin Ford stopped talking to the media for a long period of time. Kenny Ellis stopped talking to the media about Gervonta in that way because they were appeasing Gervonta and Gervonta's desire to have that information kept in-house, right? So to the extent that they were having conversations that Gervonta Davis didn't want to have, they had nipped that in the bud several years ago. However, what happened is you have family members and other members in the gym that have connections with people that have Twitter pages, connections with people that have YouTube pages, and they continued, the people with the Twitter pages and the YouTube pages continue to pay these people money for inside information about Gervonta, and he got very...
Showbiz. The adult reacted to Gervonta Davis, leaving Coach Calvin Ford, and he looked at it like a move that fans should not judge too quickly.
The problem with that, with Gervonta, is when you have spies around him, in his family, in the gyms in Baltimore, you have people that leak information that are trying to harm him, right? Because people may be saying, man, where is Gervonta right now? Oh, I can find out where Gervonta Davis is. Get on the phone, call our boy. Is he in Baltimore? Is he? Nah, man, he's not in Baltimore. He's still over there, and he's still in Florida. I heard last time I checked, he was at the gym. I gotta find me. I got him on my Find Me app. I can tell you where he is. And then all of a sudden, you got girls setting him up. And you got girls knowing exactly where he is, what he's doing. They can time him, set him up, all kind of stuff. Because he felt like he got set up in that last crime, in that last case, right? He's like, he can prove that this was a setup. Well, who's going to help set him up? Well, paid informants in your gym. So that's why, a major reason why Gervonta was off looking for somebody else, looking for a new situation. So because he's obviously got, issues in Baltimore, he's got issues in Florida. So he's saying, look, man, I'm about to clear my deck, and I'm going to go out here. I'm going to train with somebody totally different, somebody in a different camp with different people around them that my family may not know, that these people on YouTube don't.
Showbiz's point was that people are acting like they know exactly what happened behind the scenes, but nobody really knows the full situation. Tank left because he wanted a new voice. He needed a different environment. He felt like it was time to grow in a new direction before the biggest fights of his career. He also talked about the good environment in the Benavidez
Instagram
gym.
And on his socials, he's showing Gervonta Tank Davis working out in this video and announcing and marketing the new Gervonta Tank Davis on Team Benavidez merchandise. Now, he had a few videos out there showing Gervonta Tank Davis working out and all those things, and I promise you, he could not have made this announcement without Gervonta Tank Davis's blessing. For me, this makes it official, their relationship. And Gervonta Tank Davis and David Benavidez, they've shared their mutual respect for each other. You can tell that there's a genuine like and respect that they have with each other. So I think it's going to be organic. And as far as what to expect from Gervonta Tank Davis going to Team Benavidez, listen, dude, I have personal experience training with those guys and their product in that gym. And I'm telling you, man, what jumps out more than the facility itself and the hyperbaric chambers and shit where you can recover, and of course the food. I mean, it's just chef-kissed, beautiful food over there. They definitely getting their grub on. But more than that, more than all of that, is really the family culture. Once you become a part of that team.
Calvin and Kenny were spending time training rapper Christian Rock, and Tank may have felt like their focus was not fully on boxing anymore. For a fighter at Tank's level, that kind of thing can matter. He is not just any fighter. He is one of the biggest names in the sport. And if he is preparing for legacy fights, he needs everyone around him locked in the same way.
Because the family culture is like the biggest part of being there and what makes Team Benavidez unique. But on top of all of that is the work ethic. I'm over there throwing my hands and shit. I mean, I got exhausted quick. And I'm saying, listen, I'm nowhere near fighter shape. But what I'm saying is they're going to teach you form, make you learn it right now, and practice it at a high pace. And that shit just killed.
That is why some people believe Tank looked at the situation and felt like his career was no longer the main priority. If his coaches were giving attention to Christian Rock while he was trying to prepare for major fights, Tank may have seen that as a sign that the environment had changed. According to a boxing news page, Calvin Ford said Gervonta Davis's issues with him and Kenny Ellis hit a breaking point once they decided to start training Christian Rock. Tank believed they prioritized building their fame and other fighters instead of putting their attention towards his career. Amid these developments, the boxing world is talking about Gervonta's return to the ring. Gary Russell Jr. looked at Tank like a fighter who still has all the ability in the world. But now the question is focus. Tank has the power, speed, timing, and boxing IQ to beat almost anyone when he is locked in. But But after the trainer change, the outside noise, and all the talk about his next move, fans want to know which version of Gervonta Davis is coming back.
Something Compton. I didn't have no fear in me, and I basically whooped everybody that intended on jumping me. I left without a scratch. And with all my chains, yeah.
But I mean, you're a gospel singer.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to fight for your life and defend yourself. So I wasn't going to lose my life, so I had to get to my car. Yeah.
That's a tough beginning to a story, Coach. No, that really is.
I couldn't believe because I didn't know her. You know what I'm saying? My wife watched her diligently, and I happened to peep at her show, and then she got hard. But when she actually came in this gym, I felt the presence.
I mean, champions have trained in this ring, and this is where you're training now, and you're going to be fighting at Harris?
Yeah.
I mean, from being jumped in Compton to now signing a pro contract.
Greg Hackett gave a strong warning about Gervonta Davis's return, and his message was simple. Somebody is probably getting knocked out.
Pitbull fight me and I spank his ass, then what he gonna say? And let's see whose performance is more dominant. Since at this point, clearly motherfuckers ain't trying to willingly just fight me. I gotta beat somebody ass that you know what I'm saying, to show you that I beat his ass better than you. But if we can do that, that's cool.
So you go to 40 to fight Pitbull Cruz at 40?
I'm a fighter. I'll fight him. Would I fight him at 40? Yeah, I fight him at 40. You know, would I campaign at 40? No, I wouldn't.
But for him,
him personally,
yeah, it's different.
Fuck yeah, I campaign at 40 just for that. I see him at 40 specifically for that, and then I go right back down to 35.
You know, me asking certain fighters about that comment that, you know, Tank said, I think I asked Matias. Matias said, you know, most likely Tank seen something in the performance, so that's why he said he would want to come back to fight Pitbull Cruz. What do you think that is, if that is the case?
I mean, he probably seen how easy it is to be able to outbox Pitbull. He's slow in his feet. He's a good, now don't get me wrong.
Like, it's not the same Pitbull as the one that he fought before?
Then Bill Haney spoke about the potential Gervonta Davis versus Devin Haney fight, and his message was clear. The fight is there if Tank really wants it.
Greg Hackett gave a strong warning about Gervonta Davis's return, and his message was simple. Somebody is probably getting knocked out.
What do you think about his return?
I mean, I'm just happy Tank coming back. Tank's excited. All the guys are excited about Tank. There's always a big question mark when Tank get in the ring. Somebody about to get knocked the fuck out. I mean, I just hope it's a good guy. Somebody, you know, we can respect. I mean, he's been off for a while. How long has it been? Year and a half? 2 years?
This has been a year.
Year?
Yeah, he's only fought once in, I think, like 2 years, though.
He fought a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I might for Pitbull after that. Yeah. All right, yeah. So, you know, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a real good one. It should be one of them, though. It should be one of them or somebody. I'm not really hyped about Pitbull if it is Pitbull. You know what I mean? I can't say I'm hyped about it.
Meanwhile, Terrence Crawford explained why Shakur Stevenson will beat Gervonta Davis if they fight. He also talked about the reason why Tank may never fight Shakur.
We want to make you a believer, and we want to do all that we can do to make these big, bad fights happen. And I think that that's what Devin has shown. You know, on the list, Tank Davis, he sets at probably the number one. I mean, we've been had back and forth. I think that when you talk about him fighting a Jake Paul, if that was realistic, there's no realistic weight that Jake Paul could have ever come down to Devin's walk-around weight. So I consider this as real. Me and Al have had discussions. That's made it even more real. Never has anyone said anything about any dehydration, rehydration, or anything for that matter. So I think that it should be, and what it should be, is a fair fight. You know, and that weight is to be determined. But it won't be anything under 144 pounds for nobody in the world.
Yo, Bill.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, my man?
Hey, King.
That's Dre.
It's Berto. It's Berto.
I know. King Dre.
That's right. Hey, yo, hey, so recently you said something. You said that Shakur would be easy work for Devin. That sounded crazy to a lot of us. Is that you just speaking that way?
Well, it's harder. Listen, it's harder to get him in. It's harder to get him in the ring. It's been a fight to get him in the ring. I think that's going to be the hardest part for Debo to get him in the ring than to actually be in the ring.
Then Carmelo Anthony asked Shakur Stevenson the question boxing fans keep asking: will you ever fight Gervonta Davis? Shakur did not sound like someone running from the fight. He made it clear that Tank is one of the biggest names out there, and that is exactly why fans want to see it. But Shakur also knows this fight is not just about calling someone out. It is about timing, business, weight, money, and whether both sides really want to make it happen.
Versus Tank Davis. Tank never seemed particularly interested in making it happen. But since then, Shakur has ascended and now would seem to offer Tank a bigger reward for the risk than used to be the case. Shakur Tank. Is that still the biggest of all the possibilities in and around this weight class? Or has it been supplanted by Shakur and Devin?
Great point. You're right that Shakur has really elevated himself to a point that Tank would probably consider it, especially after the way Tank struggled against Roach. But I still think the biggest fight in this neighborhood is unquestionably the rematch between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. We can't forget that.
And Sean Porter also predicted the outcome of the Gervonta versus Shakur fight.
To pick his opponent, he would do it. But Tank would never come from 35 to 54.
Y'all got into it on social media around that time. Y'all was doing the back and forth shit. Is that just you being competitive, like when that happens? Or is it like...
I just really don't like that dude.
Why though?
Cause I just don't like him. Like I really don't like him. I just don't like.
Just not your cup of tea. That's just not your.
Yeah, I don't like nothing about him. You know, I don't like nothing about him. I just felt like, you know, he just one of these little arrogant little dudes that's, you know, using what he got to shield him. You know, like he got a lot of security guards around him, and he know, you know what I mean, he in the limelight and stuff like that, but in certain situations he wouldn't be acting like that.
I never think we'll see you in Tank, realistically.
Man, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I don't really like talking about him.
Yeah.
Cause like the way that he move is goofy to me. Like it's some weird shit. So like I really don't like speaking on him. But like if same thing that
fighting perspective.
Same thing that I said with T.O. If anybody got issues with me or feel some type of way about me, you could come see me on Fight Night and resolve every issue that you got.
Yeah.
I stand by that.
Make sure to check out our other videos on the